What show starts with?
The one you mentioned yesterday.
You know it. You're thinking about it.
I don't.
Alias.
Alias. I never watched that show.
Oh,
I don't think I've seen an episode.
oh,
Is that bad?
it's a really good. Like if you want a good show, even to this day.
Would you watch it now?
Uh huh.
Okay, you guys are
I don't believe
rolling.
you. Hey everyone, welcome to the Life and Gear podcast where truth leads to joy and adventure. I am your host. I'm going to do it again.
Why?
You gave me a weird look.
I was just messing with you.
Oh my goodness.
We should leave this in the recording.
Okay.
Okay. Go.
All right. Should we leave it?
Yeah, let's
Okay,
do
we'll
it.
leave it. So I'm Justin, and this is Kevin. He's giving me funny faces. You put a camera in front of him, and he turns all goofy on us.
We are now streaming. Not streaming. Not streaming. But our podcast now has video, so
I know.
you can see our good-looking faces.
Yes.
Well, not really good-looking.
Yeah, it's okay,
I mean,
though.
some of them are good-looking.
Yeah. No, we're pleasant.
Yeah, we're
Pleasant.
pleasantly plump. Anyways, start us
All right.
off.
So what's been going on? Dude, I missed you. I feel like I haven't seen you. I'm going to high voice. I've missed you so much.
Oh,
Like,
wow. I have been gone a lot, traveling around. But honestly, it's summer in the Flathead Valley of Montana.
Yeah.
And you play hard.
yeah.
And so I've gone to Moab, which I'm going to talk about my Moab
Yes.
trip.
I'm excited about that.
And then I did a trip with my Jeep and my Jeeping friends. It's the most remote road in the continental United States.
The most remote road in
Yes.
and where is it?
Surrounded by millions of acres of nothing. It's between Elk City, Idaho, and Darby, Montana.
It's close to us.
Yes, and it is. Well, we live in the West, so
Right.
and it's gravel road. And guess what? One of our Life and Gear podcast team members, besides me, went.
Who?
Tanya got a Jeep.
Sorry, I wasn't thinking.
Yeah, Tanya got a Jeep,
Yes,
and she
you
went.
did.
Yeah, and she went with us, and
And a Jeep hat too. I saw.
and a Jeep hat, and we did 133 miles of gravel out in the
Wow.
middle of nowhere. Climbed up to a peak that's called Burnt Knob. It's a nasty trail up.
Really?
But we drove up there, and it's just a great time. So that's what I've been doing. Went fishing with my son. I got to tell in a future podcast. I got to tell the story about my fishing pole.
You're not going to tell it right now.
You want me to tell it right
I
now?
don't care.
I don't know if there's any lessons in it, but okay, I'll tell you really quick. Then we got to get to the meat of this podcast.
Oh.
But here's a crazy story. I went fishing with my son,
Yeah.
and I'm not a fisherman. He's not a fisherman. We're getting new to this, and so we went and bought brand new fishing poles, and we went up to Storm Lake near Anaconda.
Oh, that sounds like a fun place.
It was awesome. We're gonna spend 2 days there
'Kay.
fishing. On my third cast, my lure gets stuck in a tree, breaks my line, and half of my fishing pole flies out into the lake.
Nuh-uh.
On the third cast of
So
2
you're
days
just
of
getting
fishing.
started.
So my fishing's done.
So what'd you do?
Well, I'm a sort of a determined person,
I had no clue.
and I saw my fishing pole way out under that frozen
Oh, you
water.
Frozen water?
Well, it wasn't quite frozen, but if it was 1 degree lower, it would have been frozen.
You did this in August, right?
Yeah, but it's an alpine winter lake. I mean, it's cold.
Oh, okay.
I went in, and it took me about 30 minutes, probably 8 attempts. I dove under the water and got my fishing pole.
So you scared all the fish away.
I looked like a
So
white beluga whale. In fact, I have video of it to prove it,
Oh,
and we'll load it
we
up to
should
the
post
Life and
it or
Gear.
something.
Yeah, we'll load up on our
A
Facebook.
beluga. An albino beluga
No,
whale?
I think beluga whales are white.
Are they? I don't know what
Yeah.
beluga whales are.
Yeah, I do a beluga whale impersonation when I'm swimming, but that's a whole nother thing. Let's go back to good adventure.
So you've been having a fun summer.
A great summer, and you have loved this summer because, you and I do something together that a lot of our podcast listeners don't know.
Yes.
We do something about this time every year.
Yes.
We've done it for many years,
Many.
and that is we are both co-commissioners of the greatest fantasy football league ever.
You speak a lot of truth when you say things like that.
Boom! It's a dynasty football league. Very
Yes.
quickly, tell me what dynasty football league is. I know, but I want the listeners to know.
Oh, yes. So basically, this is as close as you can get to owning a football team.
Come on,
I mean,
it's
this
true.
is like the real deal.
It is.
You don't get more legit
No.
outside of being like super, super rich and owning your own football
Right.
team. So you have contracts,
Come
you have
on.
salaries,
Yes.
you have to manage your players.
Okay, Justin.
It is so much fun.
At the draft, we do a draft every year.
Yes,
We're doing
we do.
one this week, actually.
Yep.
How do we start the
started-
draft?
I'm
This is
I'm
legit.
taking over from here. We start out with the national anthem.
Come on.
This is real football here.
real.
It's funny because the other owners, because they are owners.
Yeah, we call them owners. They're
Yeah.
not players.
That's right. The other owners made fun of us the first year we did this.
Yeah.
And now they stand up. They're ready to go.
They take their hats off.
Hats off?
I don't know if you saw this last year or not.
What?
Did John Anderson have a tear
Probably.
run down his face during the
What
national anthem?
Arjon. Remember
yeah.
the last
Oh, yeah,
episode? We
yeah.
call him Arjon.
Arjon. Yeah, I think he had a
Single
tear.
tear.
Yeah.
Single
Oh.
tear.
Anyways,
It was
okay.
powerful.
So we're having a lot of fun. aren't
Oh,
we?
man, we're having a blast.
And you have all this time now. Thanks for being the best commissioner because you're not in school anymore.
Right.
And so
I
you-
got so much free
you got
time.
your
It's
you
crazy.
got your degree, and now you got free time to play.
I do. Yeah. So let's get into this. We
Awesome.
are excited for what we have coming up. Now, Kevin, we're going to talk about your Moab trip, but really what we're going to do as we're going to use your Moab trip to talk about how we face adversity.
And I think it's going to be perfect. Moab was a dream trip for me. I went spent a week down there. It's called, really Jeep heaven. All these trails down there that you take your Jeeps on. I went with our off-roading group.
Yeah.
It was a blast. But one of the things that adventure always has is adversity.
Yeah.
You can't have adventure without adversity.
True.
In fact, sometimes it's the adversity that makes the adventure. And so it goes back and forth.
It's not always a fun adventure.
Not always fun, but it's an adventure. That's
Yeah.
a great statement. But you know that adventure and adversity start with the same four letters? Everybody's mentally
Well,
processing.
let me pull it
that.
up. It is
I
true.
had to look. It's ADVE.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That doesn't really mean anything because in Spanish, I don't think it's true. Only in English. But still.
We have a hard time with English.
Yeah, we do. We have pretty much any language.
Exactly.
And I'm not allowed to do my Spanish interpretations.
No, because
I'll
it's
get
not
in trouble.
Spanish.
Well, it's all mixed up. But here's the deal. Adventure always comes with adversity. So I want to talk about how to handle adversity when you're in the middle of it so you don't let adversity hijack your adventure.
Okay.
So you don't allow adversity to steal the joy of the adventure.
Okay.
So how do you do that? Well, let me start. I'll start with number one.
Okay.
I got 5 points. So if you're taking notes, and I know nobody is, but if you're taking notes, here it
We'll
is.
take them for you.
Oh, perfect. Tanya has that. She's taking
Yeah.
our notes. Number one, stay calm.
How do we do that?
Okay, well, let me tell you a story to set it up.
Okay.
I'm on my way. So I got a brand new overlanding trailer.
Yes.
We'll put a picture up
No, we already posted the picture, Kevin.
of my trailer.
Yes.
Yeah,
remember?
well, we're going to do it again
And I
because
said,
it's
wow,
so cool.
that doesn't look as cool as I thought it was going to
No,
look.
that is not true. You love it. Okay, so we're going to post a picture again of my.
Maybe we'll do a new one.
Yeah, boom. I have lots of them.
Oh, from your fishing trip.
Yeah, I have one of those, okay? And so I have this trailer, and I wanted to give it a test run, so I took it up to Eureka, from Kalispell to Eureka. How far is that?
It's an hour, probably.
Okay, so I
Hour
was
and
thinking
10
miles, but
minutes.
that works. So it's about an hour and 10 minutes. So I drove it up there, drove it back, worked great.
Yeah.
So now I got to take it to Utah.
Yes.
And so we loaded up. It's all loaded. We're going out of my Moab trip. I got my trailer behind me, and I get to Salt Lake City, Utah. Huge city.
I love Salt Lake City. It's a beautiful city.
No denying that. It is a beautiful, beautiful city.
It's like our Flathead Valley.
But people, lots of people.
And bigger.
Kalispell is going to get there. The current growth rate we're experiencing, it's only a matter of 30 decades, and we're there.
30 decades.
So I'll be dead. But actually, I might still be alive. But
For everyone's sake, I hope not.
no, I'd be 30 decades is only 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be 77. Oh, my
I was
word.
thinking centuries.
You are terrible at math.
I'm so bad.
So now we've learned in this podcast, I'm staying calm right now, that you are.
I hope you are alive in 30 decades.
Yeah.
No, you said 30 decades is what you said. You didn't say 3 decades. You said 30 decades. I'm still right.
30. Every listener is going, they are so wait.
I am right.
Did I say 30 decades?
Yes, you said 30 decades.
Okay, how long is that?
That's 300 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be dead. Okay, so that's good. See, good thing that I stayed calm. So we are in Salt Lake City. I'm
Okay.
in the 3rd lane of a 6-lane highway.
Oh, man.
So I'm in the center lane.
Yes.
My trailer wheel breaks,
Dude.
and all I see behind me is smoke. A whole bunch of smoke blowing behind me. Now, I don't notice this at first.
Okay.
The guy behind me, who's a friend of mine, because all of our Jeeps are
Because you
driving
guys
in a
are
row.
like those creepy guys that are just like one big
Yeah,
row
we're like
of
Harley
Jeeps.
Davidson kind of people. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
He gets
a
on the
little
radio and goes, Kevin, your trailer's smoking.
You guys have radios.
Yeah, GMSR radios are awesome. And I look back and all I see is the smoke. My tire had, and if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see here, the tire leans in against my trailer. It broke. The spindle broke.
The spindle.
The welds that hold the spindle broke. And so the rubber tire is running against my steel trailer, and it's creating smoke, friction, smoke, boom. If it would have broke the other way, I would have tipped my trailer. It could have tipped my vehicle. It was
That's
serious.
Crazy. So miracle just that you survived.
Yes. And I am in Salt Lake City
on
the
six
lane
lanes.
highway, and it's the busiest spot of the entire trip. I get over, and I pull over as quickly as I can, and all the other rigs are pulling over as well.
Rigs.
And that's what you call a Jeep or rig. And it's a dangerous place on the highway.
Yeah,
dangerous place. And cars are whipping by, and they're trying to exit. I'm by an exit. It's horrible. This is an adversity moment of my adventure. And I remember getting out of my vehicle and going, how are you going to handle this? Yeah. That was the question that came to my mind. Yeah. And I thought, stay calm.
That's good.
Now, I felt out of control. I'm upset that my trailer's broke. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of unknowns. Oh, boom. Yeah, exactly. And so I said, stay calm. Yeah. And there's a couple things that happen when you're in the middle of adversity. And it might not be a trailer. It might be your kids spill the milk on the table. Yeah. Yeah. It could be your teenager comes home and they're failing a class. Yeah. All of a sudden, there's adventure.
My parents had a lot of adversity.
Okay, there you go. But you finished your degree. Boom, shakalaka. And the thing is, when you feel out of control, just admit you're out of control. Mm. And when you admit you're out of control, you immediately become in control of you. Yeah. Stay calm. You can control then the knowledge, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, there's a sense of control. Yeah, and that brings everything up. Here's the other deal. When you're in the middle of a group, people are going to respond to the way that you're feeling. Yeah. So if I walk back there and all upset, they're all going to elevate their own anxiety or tension. I just came back, part of the adventure. That was my phrase. That's cool. And it brought everybody down. And it opened our eyes to see different solutions for the scenario than if we were just focused on the intensity of the moment.
So did all 9 of you stop?
No, a couple of rigs went up ahead. Okay. And then like 4 rigs pulled behind me. Okay. And then we needed to get them off the road. So there was a lot going on.
That is crazy.
And then we were trying to fix it, and the welds were broke. Oh. So there was no way we could get that tire upright. So I thought my Moab trip was over. Now, here's the cool part. Because we stayed calm. Yeah. We were coming up with some of the most creative ideas, and they were none of them were working.
You're good at those wild and crazy ideas.
I tried, but they weren't working. Right. And so, but we stayed calm, and we were actually talking about it. This is going to be okay. We're gonna get through this. We're making it part of the adventure. A truck pulls over in front of us. Yeah. And the guy comes back, and his shirt, Justin, I'm not joking. Tanya, this is for real. He walks back, and his shirt says, "Trailer Repairs."
So a mobile trailer repair truck stops over right in the middle of the highway.
I didn't even know those things existed. And he had a welder in the back of his vehicle. He had everything he needed.
That's crazy.
He goes, "I'll fix this for you." He fixed the whole thing right there. Checked all of my other welds to make sure they were good.
Was your tire gone?
It had rubbed on the inside of the sidewall, but it was good enough. Yeah. I was able to use it. And I had a spare in case. Okay. And he goes, "Well, there it's fixed." I go, "How much you owe you?" He goes, "Whatever you want." So I gave him $300.
Dude.
And we got on the trailer. But you
crazy.
know what? Our adventure did not get the joy stolen out of it because we chose as a team to stay calm.
That's cool.
I think that'd be my first point. Yeah. Wherever your adversity is, and sometimes they come out of the blue. Yeah. Immediately choose the first response to adversity. Stay calm. Yeah. Losing control ain't gonna help.
It's going to make it worse.
It's going to make it worse. Next thing you need to do, number 2, then on this, and then again, we'll use the Moab experience to talk about this, is know your limits. Yeah. Know your limits. What do I mean by that? Well, we were often one of the reasons why when adversity comes, it's going to stretch you.
Yeah.
And you need to know what you can do and what you can't do. Because when you attempt to do that which you know you can't do, you're going to create more adversity in the moment.
Yeah.
You're going to lose the adventure.
Yeah.
And one of the things I say about know your limits is you want to continue the adventure and not allow adversity to steal the adventure.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of that. We were down on an obstacle. And it was called down on a trail called Fins and Things.
Okay.
And on Fins and Things, that's the name of the trail. There is a
Jeep names are weird.
there's an obstacle called Hell's Gate.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Oh, it's nasty. It's nasty. Dude. And here's the deal. I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't.
So when you're on these trails, because I don't know anything about this stuff.
Yeah.
When you're on these trails, you look up ahead, you know what's coming.
And there's maps.
And there's ways to go around it if you decide.
Yes, we call them bypasses.
Okay.
Yes. And so this one had a bypass. I didn't want to take the bypass.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do this Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it.
Really?
And I thought, if I go do this, it was over. My Jeep could do it, no problem, for the record.
Okay.
My Jeep is not the weakness.
That was my next question. It seems like,
my Jeep can do it. I don't need, my Jeep is perfection.
Okay.
The driver is not perfect. Now, I'm all for pushing ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm all for, stretching your limits. But in this situation, I did not have I was not talented enough to do this. And so I said, I'm not going to do it. Because I don't think I can. I'm going to do more damage, and it's going to end the trip. And here's what you need to know. When you know your limits, you live to see another day.
Yeah.
Now, live might be overexpression, but and I wanted to live another day. I wanted to figure it out.
Sure.
In fact, we had another guy on our trip. Name is Zach. He's a great guy. Podcast listener.
Yeah.
And
it's funny that your Jeeping buddies listen to your podcast.
Maybe it's a requirement.
And you guys are in the vehicle for 20 hours at a time.
That is true.
It's a requirement.
And he wasn't feeling good that day. And he knew his limit. He said, I'm not feeling the best, and I'm not going to, and he's the best driver of our group.
Oh.
He's great.
That's cool.
And he goes, and he's also, I got to give him a shout, because if I didn't say this, he'd be upset. He's also the only Toyota driver of the group. He drives a Toyota. He could have done it.
Yeah.
And I think he has the skills to do it, but he wasn't feeling good. And he knew he wasn't feeling his best.
Yeah.
So he limited himself and goes, I'm not at my top of my game.
Yeah.
And so guess what? We're going to go back and do that someday. That's a non-negotiable. We're going to go back and do it. But he knew his limits.
So you should probably wait a while before you become better at driving.
Well, I'm getting there real fast.
Oh, okay.
Real fast. Like I could do it right now.
Gravel roads are good challenges.
I feel like I could do it right now because I learned a lot when I was down there. I didn't hear what you said, so I'm moving on. But I think they're hard to admit when you're not ready.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you won't be ready forever.
Yeah. That's good.
So learn yourself and grow yourself. So I think that's the other thing. It doesn't advance or doesn't make adversity larger.
Yeah.
You know your limits, and during adversity is when you stay in your limits.
How do you learn your limits?
I think life. I think by testing them.
Yeah.
But you can test them when you're not in the middle of a challenge.
Like a life and death situation.
Yeah, to test it and try it out and practice it.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is get great at what you're good at.
Yeah.
Get great at what you're good at, and then you can expound your limits on that. So
I like that.
Now, let me give you my third point. And my third point is you need to lead disappointment.
Okay.
You need to lead disappointment. What do I mean by that?
Weird. Sorry, that's just weird.
Here's what I mean, though. Every adventure is going to have disappointment in it. Life has disappointment in it.
Yeah.
Adversity is usually accompanied by disappointment. And I'll give you a weird example. You're going to roll your eyes at me. And people will be able to see it because we're doing video. Here it is. So when you're part of have a Jeep, you're part of what's called the Jeep Badge of Honor. So there's certain trails that are Badge of Honor trails.
Okay.
And if you do those and you use your app to log in, they send you a badge to put on the side of your Jeep.
So it's like Royal Rangers.
People don't know what Royal Rangers is.
Okay,
like
what's it called? Boy Scouts?
Yeah, it's like you get a badge. But it's not just Boy Scouts. It's like Girl Scouts too, because Tanya, you just got your first badge in the mail.
Yeah.
She just got her Wild Bill. Wild Bill came in the mail.
That's pretty cool that something close to us has one of those. It's like a badge.
We only have one trail in Montana that's a Badge of Honor trail.
And it's Wild Bill.
And
that's like in our backyard, right?
Yeah, I do it all the time. So what happens is you do all these trails. I did 5 badge of honor trails in Moab.
Whoa. So even though you didn't do Hell's Gate or whatever it's called,
You can do
still
a
get the
bypass.
badge?
Yeah. There may be some people might wrestle
So
with
you
that,
really didn't earn the badge.
I
then.
did too. Can you mute his mic? So here's the frustrating. Here's the disappointment.
Yes.
Everybody in my group got their 5 badges except for one person.
Kevin Gear.
My badges never came.
But you accomplished it. You just didn't get the physical badge.
No, I don't have the badges on my Jeep. So there's a local car wash here in town.
Yeah.
And I'll go through and I have 4 badges on my car from 4 other badges that I did. Well, my buddy has a Jeep.
You put them on your Jeep.
Yeah, there's a place you put them on the Jeep.
Okay.
Oh, we'll put a picture up on the deal. So cool. Well, I have a buddy named Mark, podcast listener, part of my Jeep group. And
so I was right.
Yeah.
It's a requirement.
It is a requirement. He got all of his badges. He has 9 badges on his
Good
Jeep.
job, Mark.
Well, he went through the other day and he goes, "Oh, there's 2 Jeeps that look a lot alike, but one guy only has 4, and then you have a whole bunch. I'm the other guy with only 4." And it's so frustrating. Now, here's what I mean. Here. So it's a stupid illustration, but to prove this point, disappointment can be a joy killer.
Yeah.
And if you don't manage disappointment, it will kill and destroy that adventure. It won't be a great adventure. And so what I'm saying is I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I haven't got those. But you know what? That's such a little thing in the reality of life that you have to lead disappointment.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to choose, you know what? I'm not going to allow that to be a joy killer. And I know it's a little thing.
Yeah.
But it can be a joy killer. It can create resentment. It can create stupid.
Yeah.
How often do we give disappointment greater power than it deserves?
So when we recognize that we're disappointed, we need to take control of it.
Lead it. Say, you know what? I'm not going to let you steal my joy.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to turn it on you. You know, there's a verse in the Bible that says the Lord takes what the enemy wants to use for evil and he turns it to good.
Yeah.
I want to be that way.
That's good.
So I'm going to take things that could take away my joy. You don't even have to be a believer to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to take things that are going to steal my joy. I'm going to turn them around. And I'm going to make them joy winners. I'm going to look at them in a new perspective from a positive light. I'm just going to, and if we begin to play that game, mental game in our head, we're going to live through adversity and see the joy of the adventure. And then when you lead disappointment, here's what happens. Adversity adds positively to the adventure.
Is there a point where we have to make sure that we're not, what's the word? We're not
putting our heads in the clouds.
Putting our heads in the clouds.
Yeah, absolutely. Because to lead disappointment, you acknowledge the disappointment.
Yeah.
Like I did today.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't get those badges.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, I'm so glad I didn't get that. You're like, that's a lying. I'm not going to, you never win by lying to yourself positivity.
I see that difference. Yeah.
I'm just going to say, you know what? I'm disappointed. But hey, I'm going to choose that I got 4 and, and I'll work through that right there. Okay, point number 4.
You'll keep working. You'll get more.
Okay. I've emailed them.
I was going to say, have you emailed?
Whole bunch of times.
Them?
Yeah, no, they don't really care. Point number, it's free. they do it for free, so it's like, no, I have nothing in it.
Should we make one for you? You want us to make them for you?
No, I do not want that. That would be.
We could do it.
No, shut up. Okay. Point number 4. Point number 4. When adversity comes your way, you need to leverage each other's strengths. Leverage the people's strengths. Basically, it's this statement right here. In fact, I can make number point 4 say this: ask for help. When adversity comes, ask for help.
Yeah.
Admit when you're in over your head.
Yeah.
Admit when you don't have a solution.
Yeah.
You know, when we had a guy on our Jeep trail when we were down in Moab, and we did a trail that was 17 hours long.
Oh my
it was long. It was long.
I would want a badge actually.
Yeah, seriously. And it was we were going. It was actually 3 trails back to back to back, and one of them was called Poison Spider, if you know what I'm talking about, and Golden Spike was the other name.
Okay,
of
those are some cool names.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So we were on this trail, and one of the guy's brakes went out.
Ooh.
You don't want your brakes to go out when you're in Moab. So he was in over his head.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do. And his trip could have been done.
Yeah.
His trip really at that moment was over when you have no brakes and you're on some pretty steep hills.
Like you guys are out on the trail
Yeah.
and his brakes go out.
And I'm talking, we are miles from anything. His brakes go out. So he asks for help. And sure enough, guys in our group knew how to fix his brakes. They cut his brake line.
Whoa.
Because he had no fluid.
Right.
They had fluid in their vehicle. They cut his brake line, so he only had front brakes.
Okay.
Get this, no back brakes.
Yeah.
And they vice gripped his brake line. I don't even know what I'm talking about. These are just the words they use. Okay. They vice gripped his brake lines so that his had no brakes to the back, and he was able to finish the trail.
That's crazy.
But you know what? He could have been done. Adventure over. Adversity overtaken him. He could have been had to ride in and pay thousands of dollars for someone to come tow out his vehicle. He asked for help.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, maybe you're raising kids right now, and you're in the middle of adversity, and you don't know what to do with your kids, and you want to pull your head out, and you're just spinning. Can I tell you? Ask for help.
Dude.
Just this week, someone came up to my wife when she was working in the coffee shop, and she goes, "I need to talk to you. I have a child that needs some help, and I don't know what to do."
Yeah.
Tiffany's like, my wife's like, "Come on, let's meet."
That's cool.
And they sat and met, and Tiffany gave her, I mean, she's raised 7 kids. She sort of knows what she's doing, and was able to give some great new perspective. I think, and maybe you're sitting here and you're feeling alone, and you're in the middle of dealing with some big adversity, some hurt, some wounds, some difficulties. It's time to ask for help.
What I find is most people, when they feel like, when someone asks for help, I find that most people are very welcoming to that and are more than excited to actually come alongside and help.
No, it unleashes,
it brings joy into that person's heart as well.
It unleashes the potential of those around you.
Yeah.
We're better together. Yeah. I was doing a teaching for our staff just recently, and I talked about how we don't go alone.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to go alone, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
We go together all the time. Alone is not an option.
Yeah.
In that we need those around us. That community is beautiful. Adversity is diminished when you leverage your community. And that's so important.
Wow.
And you can navigate it.
That's cool.
Turns adversity into adventure. And then number 5.
Like tweetable, Kevin.
Oh, tweetable. Does anybody read tweets anymore?
I don't think so.
Do you tweet ever?
No.
Do you have a Twitter account?
I do.
Okay. Do you know that I have 2 Twitter accounts?
You have a Life in Gear and then a Third Gear one or whatever.
No, Life in Gear and Out of Gear.
Oh, Out of Gear.
Out of Gear is going to be our sports podcast.
Oh. Wait, we're going to do a sports podcast?
We should do a sports podcast. We aren't going to do an English podcast or a math podcast. Okay, point number 5 of
What's
this.
the last one here?
And that is celebrate others' victories even when you lose.
I love this.
Celebrate others' victories even when you lose. And I'll give you an example of this. It's late at night, sun is down. We come up to what's called a waterfall obstacle. It's not what you're thinking. You're thinking a beautiful waterfall coming down in unicorns. It's not that. Okay.
Definitely didn't think of unicorns, but thanks.
And you have to, if you can't drive up it, there's a winch point, and you have to use your winch to pull yourself up. That's how steep it is. Okay. And you only get one shot at it.
Why?
Because you ain't coming back down. You either get halfway up and
long.
Stuck, and then you got to winch up because you ain't coming back down very carefully. Okay. Unless you can winch down slowly, but we don't have time for that 17-hour trail. Yeah. This is about hour 16. And we're tired. There's been other breakdowns along the way that we've had to fix the vehicles. A battery went out. So you're just trying to figure. Well, I go up this waterfall. Can't make it up.
Bummer.
You know what? It wasn't the Jeep. It was me.
Again.
I let off the gas too soon.
Kevin Gear.
I didn't want to.
I expect more from you.
I'm working on it. And I wanted to get to the top, and I let off the gas just a little too soon, and I got stuck, and I couldn't get. Once you lose traction, you're done. So my brother-in-law goes, and he goes and drives right up it.
So he went after you.
Yes, and
he smoked you.
Oh,
like he made it look easy.
You never want to lose to your brother-in-law.
It was simple for him to do. Yeah.
But here's the point.
He's a superior driver than you.
Little things, shut up. Little things can steal your joy.
Yeah.
And here's what you do. When you celebrate others' victories, even when you lose, here's what happens. It helps your heart stay right.
Yeah.
So the first thing I had to do in that moment is I could be self-centered and go, oh, I couldn't do it. Or I could go, Steve, you did it.
That's cool.
And I had to choose. Steve, great job. And then I said, so mad you made it and I did it. But here's what it does. It keeps the team united. When you celebrate others' victories, even though you're in the middle of a loss, it keeps everything united together. Yeah. This happens in families as well.
Yeah.
We as families, in your family, you should celebrate the wins of others in your families, even though you might be in the middle of a loss. But here's the key, and here's the reason why. When you celebrate another person's victory, even though you're in the middle of a loss, the loss tastes less bitter and life is a little bit more sweeter.
That's
when
good.
you are celebrating others.
That's good.
I think adversity loses its bite when you're celebrating those around you.
Yeah.
Your perspective is different.
It puts joy in your own heart.
It is a joy manufacturer.
It goes from your mind because you're choosing to make that, you're choosing to celebrate that, and it goes from your mind to your heart, and you have joy.
Boom. That's it.
I love it.
So let me repeat the 5. Okay. Here it is. In this podcast, if you're taking notes, now's the time. Start. Number 1, stay calm in the middle of adversity. Seriously, just deep breath. Give yourself time to process those emotions. Stay calm. 2, know your limits.
Yeah.
Know when to push. Know when this is not the moment to push.
Yeah.
Lead disappointment. Disappointment's a reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Acknowledge it and then say, here's how we're going to live life in this disappointment. 3, leverage each other's strengths. Don't go alone.
Yeah.
Don't ever go alone. In fact, in this podcast, in the probably the next 15 episodes, you're going to hear me say, don't go alone.
Yeah.
Okay? And then point number 5 is celebrate the victories of others, even when you lose.
That's good. I love that.
There it is.
So you had some great takeaways from your Moab trip. It was a blast, sounds like.
Oh, I didn't even talk about fear.
No.
And I experienced one of the most fearful moments of my life on that trip.
I heard that story.
Is for another podcast.
Ooh, I'm excited for that.
Boom.
I love to hear it when you get scared.
I was scared. I was freaked out.
Okay, what's our next episode? What are we talking about?
I'm actually ready to do the next one right now, but it's not time. We have to wait until October.
Yes.
But we have a great big podcast coming up, and I'm going to talk about, this is maybe one of my favorite topics, how to live life intentional.
Yeah.
I'm a very intentional person.
Yep.
I like to do things intentional and plan things out, and I don't like life to come to me. I like to go to life.
Right.
And so we're going to talk about how to do that, how to live life intentional to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve.
Is this going to be like a 5-point kind of thing?
5 points. I'll create 5 points just for you.
Hey, if you don't already, please subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Stitcher. And don't forget, check us out on the website. It's always live, and it's cool. It's got some sweet info on there. What else you got?
Well, on Facebook and Instagram, we're going to be posting pictures of my overlanding trailer. I'm excited about that.
We already posted pictures.
We're going to post new ones. And then I'm going to post the video, or Andy will post the video of me swimming and getting you can see that white beluga whale. Check out the white legs, though, when I'm swimming in that lake. Wow!
I don't know if
white.
I want to watch that.
So, hey, and also maybe go over to YouTube and check out what we look like.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Andy's got to figure out we're doing like YouTube, and then we're going to post that on Facebook. She's got it all worked out. It's going to be sweet.
Awesome. We got a great team. We'll see you guys next time.
That's right. Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Justin Stewart, and for Kevin and myself,
live life with joy and adventure.
Yep.